Hello and welcome back to our live stream here in Montreal, Canada, where the local time is 12:06 and we are about to watch the powerhouses, Denmark and Germany. I mean, this is the game that I've certainly been excited to see. And I'm very lucky to be joined by Thomas.
Hello and good morning. Welcome from the commentators booth. We have Denmark in white versus Germany in blue. It should be a very tough game here. Game 4 of the day. One of the deciding games for group number 1.
Absolutely. Very exciting match. I think it's going to be a close one. I think it's going to be interesting to see what these guys do in this big pool.
Yeah, and as you Australians going to say, it's going to be a banger.
It's going to be a banger. It's going to be an absolute banger. This is the one that we are waiting for.
Yeah, so the German national team, reigning European champion, won the national championship a year ago in Stavanger, had a very nice showing, improved a lot lately. We saw it during the German national championship a couple of weeks ago. Have a lot of young players, very strong players, very strong swimmers. We're practicing in a long pool. Sometimes even together with the Danes, so those teams know each other very, very, very well. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they can and will compete in this huge pool here in Canada.
We've seen a couple of these warm-up matches against the Australian teams by these two teams, and sounds like they're pretty equally matched if you're playing against them, so it's going to be interesting to see what they do.
Okay, we're ready. Ooh, very close.
Very
Germany
close.
A little bit faster on the ball, but Denmark gaining possession. And it's going to be interesting to see those evenly matched teams, how they will progress from side to side. We saw earlier today the strong teams pushing the others very fast into their own side, but we already see here both teams giving them each other a little bit of trouble in the middle of the pool. Ooh, what a very good attack, opening opportunity for Denmark, having a player placed underneath the basket, trying to push the ball through to the other side, but cleared by the German defender. So ball moving up, being scrummed close to the surface.
Germany moving the ball, trying to get it back past that halfway mark. Intercepted by the Danish again.
So Denmark already trying to put a bit of a stamp here on the game, playing in the German half. See two very physical teams here competing against each other.
I think one thing these teams are not going to want to do is defend in this big pool.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not comfortable.
So most certainly offense will be the better defense here in those big pools, and also you have a lot of space to use your forwards, use those 4 people extra you have compared to the defenders and the goalkeeper that are waiting in the back to push the opponents back into their own half, to bring them up to the surface, to initiate scrums, to get the ball back into your own possession. We see it again for Denmark. Germany actually leaving their goal rather unsecured, having the defender just wait and sprint down rather than be down there and have them exchange, to have more players available to get the ball back from the Danes. And we see the Danes here playing the possession game, so the classic German style, just circling the ball around, and we see the defenders and the goalkeepers also pushing outward a little bit, helping their attackers. But the Danes say, oh, this could have been a nice passing opportunity, but ripped out by the Germans, now trying to push forward. But you can see, same with the teams before, and it's rather difficult to get the ball out. But now Germany has 2 players. Nice double pass here, staying down underneath, helping each other to get to the middle. But we can see it's really difficult to have players fast enough in position.
Getting past that pool 4 checking from the Danish is going to be hard.
The golden halfway point in the middle of the pool where you can force the defenders back to the goal, where you can reduce the numbers they have available for forechecking. Now Germany
setting up their game.
Yeah, trying to get into their beloved corner. We've seen them in EuroLeague, we've seen it in the German Championship. They want to play around there, then initiate an attack, get onto the basket, play some quick passes around the basket, have a player in position. But also the German man team here taking a bit slow, struggling to have enough players underwater. We can see Sept here, the German goalkeeper, getting to his favorite position on the left side of basket, usually staying there for a long time if his team can stay in possession of the ball, but kind of jinxed it for the German team. The commentator curse hitting them immediately.
Denmark taking it back up to the surface. And a call from the referee.
Seems holding. Yeah, holding by Denmark.
German free throw.
So a little bit of shout out to all the teams and players. If you're listening, if you put your number on the fins, we can see them actually quite clearly, and we'll try to give you a little bit of a shout out during the game. Lucas Tada, the captain for the Germans, keeping possession for them. But the
Denmark, yeah, trying to make a quick breakaway.
Really good at intercepting the passes of Germany so far. Germany usually very, very secure on the ball. Manuel Gassner, forward from Krefeld, playing forward. So Germany now trying to get back into the Danish corner, trying to establish their game there a little bit. The Danes so far
not really letting them, are they?
Yeah. Playing a very heavily defensive game, also kind of giving them the corner a little bit, but trying to keep the spaces tight, but also having their attackers very close to their own goal, not giving them the space to move in, playing very similar to the 2019 World Championship against Colombia, where they gave the Colombians a lot of space to play around, but didn't really let them close to the basket and tried to intercept them as soon as they got around 2 to 3 meters close to the basket. So not letting the Germans have their typical game that they loved so much during the late years. We also saw it on the women's team where they were trying to circle the ball very close to the basket, creating those little holes, creating those little spaces for the players to push themselves into the nooks and crannies at the basket, getting a little bit of space to push up, put the ball underneath, and yeah, we can see 2 to 3 players from Denmark always in between, not leaving any space open to have the ball, get a little bit closer to the basket so that a player can maybe push himself into a corner, keep it there for a little bit, give his teammates a little bit of time to let the ball approach the ring. We can see them now positioning on the left. Oh, nice pass! Oh, very nice pass here from the Germans to the side. Defender getting into position at the last moment. They can keep the ball around the corner. So this is what they want to do. They want to create some chaos. Still in possession of the ball, defenders in place so for Denmark, but yet again a nice pass to the left.
Really putting the pressure on Denmark.
Yeah, the Danes here struggling to get a hold of the ball. The Germans keeping their space between the players very tight, but now Danes back in possession, and we can see them doing what the other teams so far didn't really do. Having 3-4 players to push,
moving in the breakaway,
to get the fast break, to force the Germans onto their own basket. Ooh, goalkeeper actually pushed up. Empty goal for a moment, but ball in possession for the Germans. Now again trying to push out of their own half. So it's the golden middle line. You want to get over there. You want to force your opponents into the defense.
There's not a lot there, is there?
Yeah.
We can get some quick Germans up there.
Yeah, we can see only 2 to 3 Germans here. And now the rest of the team approaching the Danish side, playing very cautiously, not letting any fast breaks through.
Good attack on goal there.
And now trying to push in onto the goalkeeper. Defenders in place for the Danes. We know from a bit of
Locking up that ball.
we know from a bit of insider knowledge that usually the last couple of years the training matches were a bit in favor of the Danes. Oh, nice open basket here. But the last games were rather in favor of Germany, so they might be a bit favored here in this game. But the Danes, surely not to be underestimated at all. They are certainly one of the competitors for the title here at this championship.
This halfway point in the pool is really a contentious point for most teams, isn't it? Trying to get past.
Yeah, we can see on rather even teams, they spend a lot of time in the middle of the pool, scrumming each other, having 3-4 players, defender and a goalkeeper there to help. Usually try to get the match onto the opponent's opposing side, not giving them too much space, not letting them swim through to the corner, like using the entirety of the pool to your advantage, to not have to sit back and defend, and rather play throughout the entire space of the pool, where you can utilize more players to play forward, where you can use more players. Ooh, nice attack there from the Danish forward from that angle. The Germans very well known for being very aggressive in terms of keeping the ball in their own ranks. Now approaching the Danish half, trying to get into the corner.
I don't think Denmark's going to let them play that game in the corner. Rest the game there.
We can see also the Germans and the Danes getting used to the big pool, having this huge open spaces. Sometimes for teams, if you're not used to playing in the big pool, you have to artificially stick together. Usually if you're in a smaller pool, you automatically play closer to each other. There's less depth, there's less width, and most certainly in this pool, less length. So you automatically stick closer to each other. Passes will be precise, but as soon as you use those open spaces, passes will become more easily intercepted, and you have to stick close to each other to keep the ball in your own ranks. Very important for the top teams, but also even more important for the smaller teams if they want to break against those tougher opponents. Ball dropping down, nobody saw it. Danes back in possession, trying to move forward. And we can see it here. They're scrumming in the middle of the pool, using all the players up they have to not give your opponents, not give the ball up that easily. Alright, a call from the ref, roughing against Germany. So Denmark back in possession of the ball. So we see two teams who know each other very, very well in the first half. About 10 minutes played, 11 minutes played here in the first half. And a timeout, I guess, from the Germans. Or maybe we'll see. Danish coach signaling the ref. Yeah, it's timeout by Germany in this case.
Very close game. What we expected from two powerhouses from Europe.
Yeah, and especially in this on this huge pools, you as a top team giving up one score, especially on those equal playing fields, it's very, very, very rough to come back from a 1-0 deficit. It opens up so much space for their opponents as soon as they have the ball. They just use the big space and circle the ball around. You need to swim after the ball. It's very, very exhausting for your team. So keeping the 0-0 as long as possible, and creating rather safe scoring opportunities, which is very difficult on this competitive level. So it's usually needle sting attacks to try to get in and out as often as possible. We've seen it from the Germans before, circling the ball around the Danish basket, trying to get passes through. We've seen one very good opportunity for the Germans here so far. The Danes also had one rather
Early
good
on.
scoring opportunity, but the German goalkeeper couldn't stay in place. But we've seen how rare those opportunities get as soon as the players are playing on this high level, where the forwards of both teams are very aware of the ball, where they follow it around, where they're not getting fooled by some trickery passes. So yeah, Denmark moving back in onto the German basket.
Strong German forwards coming down, really not letting them get anywhere near the basket, are they?
Yeah, and Germany, we've seen here very well done by the defenders as well to move out as fast as possible, creating those spaces for your own team, for your second goalkeeper, for your forwards who might have had to attack to get the ball into your own ranks, to give them the space to move out, to help you, maybe even to exchange.
Oh, nice hunting by number 10 there from
Lars
Denmark.
Graf, the captain for the Danes, I guess, again. Very experienced veteran. Also, we've seen them come from a dead angle, from the hand, punching the ball out. Yeah, Denmark here trying to swim over to the half as fast as possible, have the players. And we've seen the defender even forechecking and then diving back to the basket, giving his team time and space to swim back to their own basket. Ooh, but Denmark now close to the goal, only
Nice
a goalkeeper
space
there. Germany in possession of the ball, trying to bring the ball out. Very difficult. We've seen Lukas Tadier, the captain for the Germans, waiting for the ball. Christian Provard, goalkeeper, trying to push the ball out. So the Germans actually taking quite a lot of risk here to bring the ball forward. But yeah, they're called from the ref. Attack on the head from a Dane. So Germany now comfortably moving forward to the half. We've seen before during the day, a lot of the weaker teams can't really take they can't really use the opportunity of a free throw very well, because the stronger teams are so efficient on sticking close to the ball. But we've seen here now, like from the Germans, having 4 players close to each other, having a good plan for a free throw execution to actually use this advantage to be able to move to the middle of the pool freely. The goal middle line where you can force an opponent back into your own half. Very crucial to seize those advantages and know what to do with them.
And I think taking a free throw in a 5-meter pool versus a 3.5-meter pool is a completely different game that you're playing. So to be able to work that into your play.
Yeah, and to consistently execute it without losing the ball, because
exactly.
There's a bit of a saying for a weaker team, a free throw is often a lost ball, and it's usually better for them to keep the game going. So the advantage situation is often better for them.
Oh, goal!
If Germany here with one player positioning the ball, just quickly moving around the corner, and he can push it into the corner. 2 players waiting in there, and Sepp together with Luke Tada with a very, very well set up German goal. And this is what we meant by the teams creating those quick opportunities for each other. You usually don't see it coming. There's not a lot of setup. You have needle sting attacks, moving in, moving out, and then you have a quick shift in tempo. Team is going in, you can circle the ball around. You have 3-4 players positioned around the basket, and having those players who are experienced in executing from every angle around the goal, those qualities for top teams. But we see the Danes immediately wanted to go back onto the German basket. Oh, the defender only have half. I think there was a referee call. Yeah, it's a penalty.
Penalty.
There's a penalty for Denmark on the immediate response.
You do not want to leave this half 1-0 against you.
Yeah. In general, you don't lose a game 1-0, 1-0. You either lose 2-0 or you equalize.
Exactly.
You open up as much as you can at the end of the second half at least. But yeah, now we have 45 seconds for the Danish team, for a player in a 1v1 situation. We've seen it before on the Colombian team. Penalty, we've seen Juan Jose Laverde, one of the very best players here in this tournament, take a penalty. So with number 15 defending for the Germans, Andreas Weissenberger here taking the defense. Not sure yet who's on the attacking side for the Danes. The match shift.
White timeout.
Okay, there's a timeout for whites. They want to coordinate who's going to come into the pool. So also a bit of breathing room for the defending goalkeeper now. But yeah, very good opportunity for the Danes to equalize before the second half. So quite interesting. Maybe Lars Grave, the captain, maybe Andreas Wieland for the Danes, who might be the penalty shooters. Usually very experienced players who take such an important scoring opportunity. And then on the German teams, we have the goalkeepers. We have Luke Tada, who quite often hops in for the team as the captain. But we'll see who will take it for the Germans here now. Oh, okay. It's Sebastian Lange, the Bamberg goalkeeper, apparently getting ready to defend. Now that he's had time to breathe. Germany already took their timeout for the half, so they were quite lucky here in this case that the Danes took their timeout to give their attackers some breathing room. Let's see on who's gonna take it. My guess is on Andreas Wieland, number 7. Yeah, Andreas Wieland, one of the most experienced veterans for the team as well. Ooh, getting underneath the basket. Sepp Lange here having a tough time staying in position. But you have to be wary here as an attacker. You can't be too sure if the goalkeeper is not fully off the basket to take a shot.
Oh!
Got underneath, very well done here. Use the momentum of diving downwards. Very well done by Andreas Wieland to execute here for the equalize here, especially for the Danes, keeping the game open. As we said before, having a 1-0 lead in such a big pool usually means that you have to open up your defense. You can't stay back on your side and wait for counterattacks and be patient. You have to open up the game a whole lot more. And now
less than a minute for this first half.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see if Germany is going full force onto the Danish basket, trying to equalize, trying to seize a bit of momentum. Germany keeping the ball on the side. A lot of sneaky, but Germany swim through.
Wow!
Whoa! Can it take? Oh! Whoa! That they are already at the goal, but they're diving down with 4 people, and they might stay down there for as long as they can. But you see the Germans having 4 players and 5 players down there as well, trying to keep players in position, trying to maybe circle the ball. But Denmark, I think Denmark is back in possession of the ball, trying to move it up, but Germany immediately going back. Oof. So Germany here with a very clear plan of how they wanted to execute this swim off at the beginning. Lars Grave, the captain here for the Danes, trying to keep the ball. Nice pass here forward now. Denmark trying to move up, 13 seconds left in the game. They have the opportunity for a counter-attack. We have a defender and a goalkeeper here in place for Germany. 6 seconds, 5 seconds, 4. Yeah, I think, yeah. They had to move a little bit in faster, half time. So 2 actually really tight scoring opportunities here in the last 50 seconds of the game. Didn't expect that, but the Germans here with a very sneaky plan to swim along the wall.
Denmark didn't even realize until they got to the goal, and then...
Yeah, so for all those who might not be as familiar with the underwater rugby rules, if you have a swim off at the beginning or after a scored goal or after a defended penalty, you have to show the ball to the opponent's team, so you can't hide the ball behind the back. You just have to swim straight forward into the other half, or usually you want to. But there is no ruling that says you have to do it in the middle of the pool. You can do it on either side. You can do it like Sepp Lange did here, very sneakily, just having the ball in the right hand towards the wall, having the hand cover it up a little bit. So very, very strategic play here by the Germans to
get through that middle half of the pool.
Yeah. And,
that golden line straight over.
Yeah, so 1-1. Germany versus Denmark. We were expecting a very tough and very even game. We got our even game. We had a penalty for the Danes executed by Andreas Wieland very well. We had a beautiful first goal, a team effort by 4 players executed by Lucas Tada in the end, together with Sebastian Lange, who set the block. So very experienced players. We've seen them together playing with Krefeld in the EuroLeague. We've seen them all during German championships, those who watch that. Very highly competitive teams. The Germans actually won the the EuroLeague this year, so they're young players from Krefeld with some Bamberg players on a very high competitive level. So I'm very much looking forward to the second half here in this game. See what they can pull out of the hat, if they have some trickery to show as they did just now. Certainly one of the banger games in this very, very competitive Group 1 with Denmark and Germany, two favorites competing for the title, competing for the first seed in the group, certainly being a huge advantage to progress further in the tournament, as the second seed already has to play the number 1 seed of the other group, which is usually quite a disadvantage.
Absolutely.
So everybody anxious to get those number 2, number 1 spot, and certainly one of the 3 top teams in group number 1. As far as I'm aware, Colombia is also in the same group, so the world champion, the European champion, and Denmark competing for the top 3 spots. And I'm not even sure if the third seed can actually climb back up into the finals. So very important for them to score at least top 2. And even more important to be number 1 here, most likely playing Norway or Sweden from Group B. So yeah, interesting second half to come. Also interesting if they stay even, because this opens up a lot of different ways how we can progress, and this certainly gives Colombia a bit of the edge if they manage to beat one of the 2. So will be interesting to see how this group is progressing, and certainly not that fun for the lower 2 teams in the bracket, because if it comes down to points scored for who's gonna advance, the lower teams are gonna have a very, very fierce offense upon them during their games. So yeah, 1 minute left, halftime break. Germany here in black, Denmark in white. Germany actually getting 3rd place in Graz 2019. Lost to Norway in a penalty shootout in the semifinals. Denmark losing to, I think it was also Germany in a group phase, and then to Colombia in the semifinals. So Colombia advanced to the finals against the Danes, the Norwegians against the Germans. So this group, basically 3 of the 4 semifinalists in one group seated here in Canada.
It's making for an interesting group, isn't it?
Yeah, most certainly. Right, so we'll see who will get the ball during the second half.
Denmark just had it on Germany in the first half.
4 seconds to go. All right, there we go.
We're off.
Second half. Oh, looking good for
Denmark.
Denmark. Had a bit of a better start. Quite interesting, because Germany does have some very fast swimmers. And we'll see how they compare to the Colombians, who are also very, very fast swimmers.
Very fast.
Something that favors them quite a bit in this long pool is their swimming capabilities, who they used over the last years and practiced a lot. Ooh, actually holding on to the ball here, even though being attacked from it. And that is holding. I didn't call it. Oh, that's a bit of a bummer for Germany. The forward being held back here by the Dane, but not being called by the ref. But Lucas Tadder to the rescue, getting the ball back for the Germans. Now a bit of a surface play here, trying to get back to the wall side. Germany loves to play from the closed side, using the open side to position players, but usually not playing a lot around on the exchange bench side. Also very risky for you to have the ball circling on the, in this case, the right side of the pool. On the exchange area side, you have people constantly coming in from outside, exchanging in, being behind you from that angle, so you're constantly getting attacked.
Denmark really not letting them set up that game in a relaxed fashion, are they? Really coming at them as they're passing in the corner.
Mm. Yeah, and quite with a bit of, let's call it, oh, atypical, but now nice pass here into the corner. We can see the players positioning around Sebastian Lange and a second player waiting on the far side of the basket. Sebastian Lange usually keeps a lot of time to himself underneath the baskets, waits for a scoring opportunity. Surface scrum.
Choking called by the referee.
So Germany stays in possession. Denmark realize it.
And stolen the basket.
Sebastian Lange immediately on the way to his favorite spot, the opponent's basket. He's playing goalkeeper on both sides, usually, if you can.
It's an interesting tactic, stealing the basket, because obviously if you can get the ball to them, it can be an amazing thing, but you also means you're playing with one less person.
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
the attack.
Germany trying to get the ball closer to the basket. You can see here always one person positioning at the Danish basket. We can see the forwards trying to work together to intercept a necessary pass, staying down there very long.
And we're going to see them both go up at the same time, I think. Oh no, they're managing.
Even see him, yeah. No, I think it's Christian Schäfer who's staying down there for an immense amount of time, trying to give his second attacker a lot of breathing room to come back down. And we can see the Danish forwards being in between the defender and the goal as well. So it's a bit atypical, so to say. Usually the attackers and forwards are trying to come from that angle from either side, but apparently they are respecting the German offense a lot, and as they already played against the Colombians, they want to defend very close around their own basket, using their size and strength to their advantage. Now we have a referee call, attacking the head. Seems again against Denmark. Thanks for the praise in the chat, by the way. Yeah, so 3 minutes played in the second half. And it's quite fun because the game seems very slow at some point, because there's not a lot of swimming back and forth, because the spaces are rather tight. So the teams trying to create those scoring opportunities by shifting tempo back and forth a lot. So you usually slow down the pace of the game, giving your opponent a little bit of feeling of security, a sense of security around their own basket, and then you bring as many players as you can within a very short amount of time, usually initiated by a player positioning himself in the far back. You can see there he tried to steal the position of the defender. Lukas Tada, the captain for the Germans, also waiting to receive the ball, keeping him.
A lot of pressure there from Denmark. Really not letting Germany get a lot of breathing room in there. And we see their player waiting there.
Yeah, we can see the Danish forwards just lurking and waiting for the Germans to get close to the basket. Might actually not be the worst strategy, because the pool is so big. You usually need 3 to 4 players to bring the ball. Oh, nice pass here into the corner for the Germans, but the defender is still in place. We have one player on the other side, but can he wrestle the ball out? Lukas Tada tried to sneak it in on the far side of the corner, but 2 players already in place again.
Another wave of attack.
Martin Mesker is trying to bring the ball in. Some forward positioning. Yeah, so we're seeing very forceful, very strong play by those two men's teams. And now Denmark back in possession for the first time in this half, as it seems. Moving forward, having players in the middle of the pool. But we can see how tight those spaces are, how well both teams are positioned. Always players shifting and moving in front of others. But now the Danes also sneakily moving on the right side, trying to get close to the basket. I think there was a pass downward. Goalkeeper got a slight grip on the ball, pushed it away a little bit, but staying in possession of the Danes, trying to have a player on the other side. Forwards in between. Pass to the middle, but yeah. that was the position the player should have been. Wasn't there, had to get up to get some breath. Yeah, so we can see plays that usually work out in smaller pools because people can move to positions faster and don't work out in those size of big pools just as well because you have a lot of swimming distance to cover.
And if you've been defending for 6 minutes, it's hard to get down to the other end of the pool and start attacking and set up your game again.
Most certainly, yes. So you have to cover the entire width of the pool. You want to have those 4 players. Oh, nice. It's a free throw for Denmark. Apparently by the deck ref. And timeout. Let's see. Oh, there's going to be some changes for the Danes. The Danes took the timeout. Timeout white here. Denmark in white, Germany in black. We can see a player coordinating exchanges for the Danes. Bringing in some fresh air. Yes, also as Chet mentions, forechecking too far away from your own goal. We've seen it before in a couple of games. The forecheckers usually just swim after the ball like a little dog, trying to catch a ball, trying to catch a car, and losing and wasting all their effort where the defenders can't really get off the goal. So letting the opponents come to your own goal, give them a little bit of space to play around, but then attacking in the near vicinity of the goal, usually a very good strategy to have more players readily available to get also to get the ball out of your own half afterwards, because getting the ball is one thing, it's more or less the easy task. Getting the ball out of your own half, that's the difficult task.
Letting your forwards sort of rest a little bit and then come down, hunt the ball, take it back to the other side when they're fresh, rather than playing this sort of intense pressure and then having to swim the length of the ocean back to the other side.
And also you usually want to have some players exchange, so you have to pace your team, you have to know how many players you have.
Do you think teams like this, who are obviously used to playing in more smaller pools in Europe, do change their preparation for a game like this?
Yeah, absolutely. All teams, the German national championship was held in the largest pool they had available for the championship. They were practicing Krefeld, who's got a very long and deep pool. So yeah, I know it specifically from Germans. My guess is for the Danes as well, as they have been preparing with the Germans a lot in competitive matches. So pretty much all the teams try to have bigger, longer pools available, trying to get pool hours in deeper pools to be ready to be used to those distances. And yeah, so but now nice attack here from the Germans, coming from the open side, pass going over the goalkeeper, trying to push it back down onto the other side. It was a nice effort here by Martin Meskes again. Also trying to, you can see always trying to stop the players as soon as possible, giving your teammates a little bit of breathing room to catch up to the bulk of the players and to not let... Oh, a very good opportunity here. Martin Meskes trying to go straight for the goal, but defended by 3 to 4 Danes now. We can see just one Danish player on the surface, juggling the ball back and forth, trying to give his players a little bit of breathing room, some exchanges, and now trying to lock the ball up a bit on the surface scrum to have their defense back in place. Actually a very good tactic. Probably a lot of the smaller nations and teams should
ball
use.
Dropping down.
And we can see how tight the spaces usually are in the first moments after you get the ball back. And then we see the teams like Denmark, like Germany, who will play the game in the middle of the pool, who will seize the entire size of the pool to not have to swim back to your own half the entire way. Oh, nice back and forth. Players
really
being
strong match in the middle of the pool with these two teams.
Call by the ref, taking the head. A free throw for Denmark.
About halfway through this second half. What a match.
So the Danes, maybe we also see some trickery from the Danes here. Usually the top teams have very distinct plan. Yeah, you can see it there. The goal was
Passing
stolen
back.
away by the Danes, and now they
Ah.
will execute. And usually, if that happens, you will lock the ball up for the time being. I don't know if all the German players actually noticed that the goal has been stolen away. So a very good opportunity here for the Danes, but Germany sending a wave of 4 players towards the Danes with the ball to keep them locked up, to keep them from swimming towards the German goal. Ooh, but ball dropping down. We can see their attack patterns being interrupted. They're trying to bring a player towards the basket, but on those top levels you don't want to foreshadow your plays too much. You want to be just in time at the goal when the ball arrives to execute as quickly as possible, because the scoring opportunities are below a second that you have for scoring. So very tight spaces to punch a ball through. And also in pools that are the size like this, it's very hard to consistently have 3 to 4 people available at a basket to play around. Now the basket stolen, like a little bit of Möller position here for the Danes, but oh, nice pass behind the back. Forward to Philipp Kreisig, trying to push it forward as well. Yannick Pieper. Sebastian Lange.
Really not
Kim
wanting to let them get back there.
Locking him up. Svanberg, but ball back in possession for the Germans. Andreas Weißenberger. To Yannick Pieper. One of the very talented players from Krefeld coming into this national team during the latest years. Christian Provold moving in. We can see the forwards taking a little bit of time waiting and lurking around the ball carriers, trying to have their teammates in place to receive a ball, to be able to move forward, to give their team the breathing room to set up the defense. In Germany as well here, it's quite tough actually to play out of the closed corner, because the closed corner is rather far away compared to other pools. So a standard tactic of pushing yourself off of the wall and being at the basket within half a second, not possible here. And we see the Danes very well aware of what they want to do, to be in between those players, to not give them the force to swim on rim height towards the Danish, towards their opponent's goals, towards their own goals in this case. Denmark back in possession of the ball. Forward Pettersen. Nice passing station. Sven Andersen. But you can see the German defender diving very far up front. Germany back in possession of the ball, and it appears the camera sled is stuck a bit. Trickery.
Trickery from all angles.
Yeah. So you can see actually from this angle how much space there is to cover, how deep and vast the pool is. You can see them playing in the middle of the pool, back and forth.
Yeah, the middle of the pool in a pool like this is just a huge area to cover. And to be fighting constantly in the middle of the pool takes a lot of effort and a lot of strength, and these guys have it.
Absolutely.
Very evenly matched as well.
Ooh.
Oh, here we go.
Attack from above onto the goalkeeper.
Saved by the goalie.
You can see, oh, ball snatched away. Goalkeeper now has to stay down. Doesn't have his exchange partner available right now. Yeah, now goal is being covered. Hannes Treiber had to do a little bit of overtime. Yeah, we see the Germans. Yeah, So it's Denmark in white versus Germany in black. We will throughout the day have the teams' names also in the overlay. Free throw for Germany, attacking on the head by the Danes. About 2 minutes left in this game. We've seen a very, very physical first half. We have seen 2 goals, one very beautiful played goal by the Germans. We've seen a penalty from Denmark to equalize. Andreas Wieland versus Sebastian Lange. And we have 2 minutes left to go in the second half. 1-1 between Germany in black, Denmark in white.
We might go to penalties.
Yeah, there will be no penalties in the opening rounds. So the opening rounds very much respects a draw rather than the knockout stages later during the day. Germany now back in possession over the Danish goal. Defender moving out. But very risky here for the Danes above their own goal. They're not juggling the ball back and forth. He's got a minute and a half to go. Germany closing in now. They have to cover their own basket again. It's always risky for a goalkeeper to have the ball and to have to move out forward. But there are Danes. Kim Pettersen again. In position to receive a ball, but you can see how tight those spaces are. Oh, now
here we go.
Fast break opportunity here for the Danes.
This is something we tend to not see from these European teams as well. If you look at Colombia, they tend to come with 3, 4 people on their counter-attack.
Will be quite interesting to see how those teams fare against the Colombians and how the Colombians can actually play their game if the European teams close.
Here we go.
But now,
Here we
good
go.
opportunity here for the Danes. 2 people on the basket. But they just cannot
Taken
bring
away
a
by
third
Germany.
person to execute a Philip Kreisig trying to move the ball out. Now 19 seconds left in the game, trying to go for a counter-attack here. Andreas Weissenberger moving forward, 10 seconds, can he pass? Oh, goalkeeper not in place initially. 5 seconds.
Strong attack.
Seizing the last seconds of the game. Ah! Alright, so we are currently checking if the game will actually go to sudden death and penalty shootouts, because usually during a round robin preliminary rounds you respect a draw during a game. And as far as I know, I mean, the teams seem to be shaking hands, so the game should have ended. There shouldn't be any sudden death or overtime periods in this game. Round robin, you respect the draw between 2 teams, and it even makes the group more interesting. They have just opened up a very big opportunity for the Colombians now to claim the first seed in their group. Respectively, the Germans as well as the Danes now have to play upwards. And we'll be back with the next game in a couple of minutes. I think there will be a technical timeout for about 10 to 15 minutes. We will bring another camera into the pool, and then we will continue with our next game.